Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another Middle Earth chat. Today, we're going to be discussing episode six. Uh, Pretty jam packed episode, if I do say so myself. And as always, let's do some introductions here. So, starting up top, we have V. Hello, V.
Hey, glad to be joining the Friday panel for once. Interesting.
Glad to see you. You get to see how this one works and the chaos that ensues. Um, Speaking of chaos, next up is Omo. How you doing, Omo?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys? No, it's always chaos when we're together, so I dig that.
Awesome, awesome. And joining us again as well, we have Nick down below. How's it going, Nick?
Very well yourselves. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello. And working all the magic on the back end, we have Kyle doing awesome stuff for us. And I believe throughout the show, we might have some special guests popping in and out. And I think one way to summon a special guest is to just start talking smack about dwarfs. So just try to fit in as much dwarf smack talk as we possibly can, and that might summon Varking for us. So keep that in mind, and we'll see if we can get him to join. Um, all right. So without further ado, let's jump into this episode. Let's start from the top, and um, maybe we'll start with just high level impressions. Like, how did you guys feel about this episode? We can start with V and kind of go down the line. So, where do you rank this episode, this season so far?
Um, so it was a good continuity episode, I would say, from episode 5, from where it left. It's not. I don't know if it's better. I don't think it's better because of some problems I had with Numenor and Rhun this time. But the region storyline, it keeps getting more impressive. So when we're talking storylines, Earien, I liked it more this time, even more. And I think the other ones are always at the same time. So yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Omo?
I like it because we've seen a bit of the water. I like water. Water is good. So I like this episode.
Get
And
to work your magic.
exactly. I mean, I forgave someone for crying out loud. So. No, I really liked also the Aragon parts. I think that was really cool with Annatar and all that stuff.
And how about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think I'm the same as V. I think it was really strong. I think it's not up to 5 level. I think 5 is now becoming the benchmark for any past episode, any future episode going forward. But I think there's just some problems in Rune, unfortunately, that just knocked it down a touch, unfortunately. But it was still strong, really strong. Like there's some great moments that we'll touch on in a minute.
Awesome. Well said. Yeah, I'm kind of echoing everything you guys said. And Rune is cool. Storyteller says Rune is cool. It's just developing so slowly. I could definitely echo that as well. Hopefully, we see some more action in these next two episodes with Rune and where it's heading. But yeah, all right, let's. Oh, Mr. TNT came here to give a like. I'm watching episode 6 tonight. Waldreg is the Witch King, just in case you wanted that spoiler. Interesting. That's an interesting take. So I guess on that hypothesis there, we only hear Waldreg scream. We don't really see a dead body or anything like that. So still possible. Still possible. All right. So opening shot here. This was Arondir running around in the trees. Um, it seems like we're getting a lot of transition shots this season. We're seeing traveling, and he kind of got ambushed by a couple of orcs. What do you guys think of the action? Anyone want to take that? And how did you feel the scene played out?
I think it was fine. I think it was just a nice way to remind audiences where Arondir is and where he's going to, and I think the transition from the map to Eregion is kind of just like the foreshadowing of where he's heading to. So I think it was a fine opening. Music was great, but I think, like I say, just this, what is on the map, what's Eregion, he's going to head there. Let's all head there in the next shot. So I think it was fine. Good opening.
So we're gonna probably get some awesome Legolas-esque battle next couple episodes with Arondir, so that'd be cool. Can't wait to see that. Yeah, and oh, yep.
Yeah, it's one of those rare things that they finally let us know when the action character goes to action and not just show up to action. Like, because Arondir was in Pelargir just before and without any real connections to elves. So it would be really random if he just showed up to the
He's
battle.
got a purpose now.
Yeah.
He's got a
So
reason.
now he
Yeah.
yeah, it is rare and good to see.
That's a great point. Yeah. Adding some context, and yeah, if he just randomly showed up, I'm sure there would have been like backlash. How did he get there? So they're giving us the transition, which is great. And the map's pretty interesting. It does appear like, I think there was an X on the map on the lower left, and then there's a couple of highlighted areas near the trees. So my hypothesis, based on what we saw at the end of the episode, is the tree lines where they were staging the trebuchets, which is a word you don't often get to say. So glad I got to say it. And staging the orcs. So yeah. All right. And then moving on from this scene. We get to the heart of the season, Celebrimbor, Annatar, Merdania, which I kind of sympathized with Celebrimbor because I forgot her character's name last episode. I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think that's a big mistake
It's like
to
we've all
make.
been there, Celebrimbor. We've all been there. There's three of us last week. It was like, Medania. So yeah.
So definitely he's in good company. Yeah, this scene was very tragic. It's showing all the manipulation. I believe shortly, I could be crossing my wires here, but I think after this scene, there's the conversation with the hammer and it disappears and comes back. So we're getting a glimpse of like how powerful Sauron Annatar is and how he influences other people. And we get the quotes throughout the season of like, "You worms inside your mind, bores a hole," stuff like that. We're getting that personified real time in this episode. So how did you guys feel? Like, do you feel like the attitude Celebrimbor had towards his ringmakers warranted? Do you think it was over the top? What are your guys' thoughts here? You know what? I'm gonna pick on Olmo.
I don't know, like this episode with Celebrimbor was kind of intense because you've seen it a bit all over the place, and you've seen his. It just felt the same way that you see Frodo in the Lord of the Rings movies when he's like
Oh yeah.
completely gone and he's completely absorbed and consumed by this thing. Um, so he's just he's a shallow version of himself, right? But that's like it's sad to see it because you compare it to the first time we see it in season one, for example, you see like this kind of regal person, and now you all of a sudden you see like this man is he's literally dirty, like he has dirt on his face and he's completely lost. He doesn't know anything anymore, and he just wants to complete this task, and he's consumed by this desire to be better than his grandfather, which is it's a
Mm.
bit sad to be honest.
Yeah. It also, another thing that kind of stuck out to me in this episode with Celebrimbor, it's almost like mirroring Stockholm syndrome, where he's starting to become dependent on Sauron, and Sauron's kind of alienating him from the rest of his people. And I have a feeling it's gonna get extra tragic in the next couple episodes because at the end of this episode, he pretty much has Celebrimbor by himself. Um, so yeah, it's gonna get very depressing. Um, I think I saw a comment in here by, let's see, a storyteller. He said he didn't forget her name, but his forgetfulness did remind me of when I'm under stress. So yeah, I could definitely sympathize there.
I think what we see is like how slowly, not slowly exactly, he gets consumed by Annatar wishes, and how he, in my opinion, it's some sort of manipulation to get Celebrimbor appear the more like fragile to his apprentices, because in episode 5, for example, when Mirdania went into the unseen world, Anatar blamed the fiery and evil, basically spirit, to Celebrimbor being shattered. So maybe this is one more of the illusions that he creates, so that he distanced Celebrimbor further from his apprentices and basically um, his social system, let's say, or like the people that can actually support him and understand him. And at the same time, he makes himself more reliable to them, like Anatar makes himself more reliable and sort of takes the role of Celebrimbor in the region. So it's kind of amazing how he basically manipulates the entire society and the structure of it.
Yeah. Powerful stuff. And okay, so we'll move on from here. So we talked about how he, couldn't see the hammer. He takes control of the town folk. What's pretty cool, I could be wrong, but is this the first time we get a depiction of a Silmaril? Um, I think you kind of see
Yeah,
like
it is. Yeah, it's 100% it is. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's pretty powerful. Like we've never seen that before, and it would be nice to see like the actual Silmaril instead of like a statue of one, but it's still cool nonetheless. Um, I guess I won't go into spoilers, but this statue was pretty popular during the leaks earlier in the year, so more to come there. But yeah, it's really cool to see that. Silmaril. So we get the speech here where he's basically um, starting the plot to alienate Celebrimbor. And then from this, I believe, do we get the quote unquote message? Is that shortly after this? It's on the yep. I thought this was a pretty gruesome scene. It's definitely kind of this season's got a little bit more dark tinge to it. Yeah, I'm pretty curious. I forgot. Does anyone remember what the quote was?
Yeah, it's the title of the episode. It's where
Yeah.
is he?
Oh, where is he? Oh, nice. So, oh, the drama is starting to boil up here, and Adar is looking for Sauron, and Sauron pretty much manipulated this entire thing. It's such a cool chess move to see. I'm really liking how the season's shaping out. From here, I think we get a little bit of like the Mordania Sauron manipulation too. It's continuing. Um, I just have a feeling that's going to boil up into something later on in the season, but I guess time will tell. Do you guys have any theories there?
I don't know.
No, I don't. No, like I say, there's got to be some sort of cause and resolution here, and I can't just put my finger on it for a moment.
I just
Not
believe
sure.
like she's the first apprentice. She's the protege of Celebrimbor, so she's like target number one for Annatar. So it makes perfect sense how he's approaching her and trying to manipulate her as well. And I don't know, like the Celebrian theories, on the other hand, as beautiful as they are, I think they're delusional. But it's fun reading them.
Oh man, I'm wondering if she might play a role in treason against Celebrimbor because they're showing so much like interaction between her and Sauron. I wonder if she's somehow going to betray him towards the end of the season, but that's just random theory. I'm just grasping at straws. I just going off of like movie tropes, stuff like that. But I was like reflecting too on this episode particularly. I felt like a lot of the beats were in the trailers, and it was kind of fun thinking back on the theories we had when the trailers released and to what they ended up being. We'll probably get to that in a little bit, like the whole water trial. Like I was way off on that. I don't think I was anywhere near correct with that storyline, but yeah, I guess we'll move on from this scene. We'll see where it takes us. And just as a reminder, I watched the episode once and I'm trying to pace myself. So if I seem forgetful, it's because I'm trying to pace myself and not watch it 100 times before season 3. So, um, but okay, overlooking. Okay, so yeah, he gets to starts to see the orcs are closing in. Some pretty good foreshadowing early on. We get the very aggressive fork stab there. Um, One thing I don't know if anyone else thought this, but think about like how they treated Adar in season 1. He's like chained in a barn by himself, and then you juxtapose that to this season with Adar giving her this feast. It's kind of interesting. It's like who's really bad at this? He's being relatively nice, but he wants something from her, so buttering her up. But anyone have any thoughts there? This scene?
Yeah, this scene is almost mirror image of last season for me, stylistic wise. And one of the biggest takeaways from last season with episode 6, when these two characters kind of meet, was Charlotte Branston when she said the way that she shot it, and she shot it in Dutch angle because Galadriel was off balance. She wasn't right, so she shot it the Dutch angle. It's like it shows the unbalancedness of the scene, and they've kind of mirrored that again. And there's shots where I suppose Galadriel again, she's off balance. Adar's off balance because Sauron's about. It doesn't know where it's about. He needs to get the information about Sauron. So the way that it's shot again was kind of like a mirror image again. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, they've done it again, which is great. But there's a couple of other references, I suppose, stylistic wise, about season 6 that we'll come on to later. But there's just the way this was shot, it just immediately brought me back to that, and they've gone the same route with the shot type, which is great.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I think this episode had a different director too. Is it Sanny? I don't have my Wikipedia up right now, but I wonder if Charlotte has like a kind of influence over the directors this season, because it definitely seems like there was a very cohesive vision this season, particularly. And yeah, I really some of my favorite episodes were Charlotte in season 1. So we're getting her twice. I believe she's directing the last 2 episodes, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be awesome to see. And oh yeah, Sana Hamry. That was the director's name for this episode. Oh yeah. Okay. Reminding me of the Morgoth crown and how there's a theory that Adar has that with the crown and the ring, there might be enough power to defeat Sauron permanently. What did you guys think of that plot device? I think this one warrants an opinion from everyone. So maybe we go top to bottom. We'll start with V.
Probably this will be analyzed a bit more on the Sunday stream that is a bit more lore deep dive. But the problem with, in general, Morgoth's crown this season is that after Morgoth's defeat, the crown was basically made into a collar for him, and it was tossed into the void with Morgoth. So I think there are some theories explaining why and how the crown ended up surviving all this, or just sort of reforging it and saving it up again. I don't necessarily have a problem with this kind of break of the canon because it's an interesting thing to suggest, and it's even more interesting that Adar already used it once to try and kill Sauron and failed, but he still holds faith to that crown. And I don't know, like, that's very hopeful coming from someone whose life's probably shocked a lot. So yeah, I don't know. I'm so and so.
All right. How about you, Omo?
I mean, yeah, it's a bit all over the place, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Yeah,
Mysterious.
yeah, mysterious for the time being.
How about you? How about you, Nick? Anything to add?
No, not really. Like I say, it's the fact is it obviously means something to Adar because the reason he's still got it. If he thought there was this thing, obviously the episode 1, he does Sauron with it. He could have just tossed it away, left it. But the reason he still got it, like I say, is that reason because he referenced it. Said like he'd not met Galadriel yet. And so there's a purpose. There's still a purpose to this crown. It's got to be mixed with something, or it needs another binding agent to it, which is her rings. And like this is how we defeat Sauron. This is his kind of theory on that. So it's got a part to play. We've seen some shots that's going to come up in a couple of episodes' time that references that. So it's full purpose. I don't know, but there's a reason we keep seeing it, and it plays a lot of part in the marketing. So we've not seen the last of this crown. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it seems overall feasible. Like it might be breaking lore one way or the other, but just from like Adar as a character, I can see him being like, "Oh, like I stabbed a guy with a crown. It did something, but he's still here. If only it had a little bit more power, I might be able to get rid of him forever." So then hearing about magic rings, like, oh, maybe combining the two powers will do something. So seems feasible. I'll give it that. And then whether or not it plays out, I guess sounds like we'll find out either later this season or in future seasons. All right, so we'll probably skip through this. We talked about this scene. Okay. Then we end up in Numenor. We get to see the Great Tree for a little bit. And yeah, overall, like this scene was very powerful for me. Like Elendil was really sticking to his guns, and it was kind of like a proud moment to see like someone like really holding true to their beliefs where it could mean their life. I guess we get because I'm going to be mindful of time and rambling. We'll probably go a little bit further. Um, we had the exchange from Farazan and him. He basically determines that they reference ye old book and decide that they're gonna. Oh well, we have him in company right now. Omo deciding. Omo, I guess, is going to decide the fate of Elendil via the worm. Which is pretty interesting. So that was, I don't know, does anyone remember if anyone on our team had the theory that this would be the use of the couple of fragments of scenes we saw in the trailers? Does anyone remember if anyone correctly guessed that it would be for a trial?
No, I think someone said something along the lines of like marriage proposal thingy or something like that, but I don't remember anything along the lines of sea trial.
Yeah, and I want to say so. It might have been Strider. Wish he was here to join us, but I think he theorized that it could be similar to House of the Dragons or Game of Thrones, where they had like to announce yourself as like king or queen of I already forgetting their clan, but
The Iron Islands, where they go to the sea.
yeah.
And
So
I don't know exactly what the ritual is, but I think they are the sea people and the equivalent probably of Numenor there. So yeah.
Yeah, so pretty close, but it ended up being related to a trial, kind of like trial by combat, but instead it was trial by giant worm in the sea. So more to come on that scene, but we'll continue on. I think we saw glimpses of the rune. Okay, yep. This would be a good place for theorizing. Does anyone have any theories on what the stranger saw? Um, Basically, Nori and Poppy in some kind of danger with the Dark Wizard. Anyone have any theories on this? Where it could be leading? No?
So I think it will be sort of a capture of Nori by the Dark Wizard or something, but I don't think we will see it in this season. Maybe in the next one, because we have 2 episodes left, basically, with most of their runtime having to do with Earien, and the stranger here doesn't even has his staff. So I think it's sort of going to wrap up Rhun quite soon, and this is one way to get us in a cliffhanger for Rhun, maybe, of like having the stranger seeing some glimpses of the future and wondering if this will come true or not.
I think we'll be back in room. I'm just thinking of the soundtrack. There's a track on there called The Staff, and I'm like, is it just like we'll probably get that at the end of the season? I think we'll probably end Rune there. And like to V's point, it's like saying that's probably, you know, if Nori and Poppy are catch at the end of this, then theorizing off the top of my head, he gets his staff and then he goes after them, kind of thing. So that more leads into season 3. That's about as much as I can think at this point.
That would be a pretty good cliffhanger. All right. I think if I remember correctly, after this scene, does it go to the exterior of them in the... Oh no, it goes to the storyline. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I don't really remember much from the scene. I tried. Oh shoot. Anyone
I
remember?
remember some stuff. Do you want me to
Yes, if you
give a rundown? So basically what we see in the scene is Nori is suggesting that the Stoors leaves this place since it's a bit broken down. And basically what Gundandel tells to her is that they have their whole lives here. And I think this is the scene when you understand more the difference between the Harfoots and the Stoors. Like, the Stoors really have a home, and the Harfoots cannot really understand that. To them, at least what I picked up from Nori is that this is only like a sanctuary. It's not that personal for her. So she doesn't understand why the Stoors don't want to leave that place. And also we have the romantic plot line between Poppy and Nobody, Merrimack, flourishing, let's say. So I think that's the whole thing, and they debate on whether Nori should give herself to the Dark Wizard so that the Stoors can stay here or not. That's sort of it.
One thing that stuck out to me too, I think this was from a San Diego Comic-Con panel. I remember the showrunner saying, like, people were asking, is there going to be like an on-screen relationship and LGBTQ representation? And so far, like, it seems like the Poppy Nobody relationships being kind of highlighted. And I don't know if I sensed a little bit of jealousy from Nori. I'm wondering if that could be the relationship he mentioned, because he said it could have already existed on screen, and we saw a lot of Nori and Poppy together. So I'm wondering if this is going to be some sort of love triangle. I guess that could be an interesting chat, a discussion. So keep an eye out to what you guys are saying in the chat about that one. I did see people highlighting the Tom Bombadil saying, did you say snoring? Nori snoring. Yeah. Interesting. But I guess it works. Awesome. So, all right. One thing I guess I will say about this, because I don't want to trash on this storyline completely. What I do think could be interesting for the show is if by like season 5, they end up like migrating to the area that becomes the Shire. Like that would be really cool to see, because it sounds like they're setting it up this season by mentioning the Suzat and all that. So if that's something to work towards, so I'd be curious to see how that unfolds, because
Pretty
they'd
safe
have a
bet.
lot. Yeah,
Safe bet.
so that'd be really cool.
This is a comment for Sunday, the lore deep dive. I think we've discussed it plenty actually in that panel. So the problem with that is that the Shire is basically built around the middle of the Third Age, and what they think it is that they will probably migrate to the place where Smeagol grew up, because the Stoors are descendants. Like Smeagol was one of the Stoors, and this Smeagol storyline takes place a bit after the end of the Second Age and somewhere in the middle of the Third Age. I don't know exactly when. So maybe we will see the migration of the Stoors eventually, just not to the Shire, but they're gonna be halfway there. So yeah, that's the piece of lore for today.
Getting a sneak peek for Sunday. But yeah, that's great insight. All right. So from this, okay, so this is the scene that I think has some controversy to it. I guess I'll preface by saying I haven't really minded the book and movie quote callbacks too much this season, last season, like the Follow Your Nose, like it kind of felt like it fit, like it not a big deal to me. I will say though, the one in this scene was pretty jarring to me and it took me out a bit. And I was trying to process that emotion of like why does it feel weird to me? And I think it was the context it was being used in because it was almost like a reversal of the context we know from the other movies, the books, etc. And this one is kind of like used to say, yeah, maybe you should just let your friends be in peril and not care about them. So I thought that was strange, but maybe some people look at that as clever because it's like we're expecting it to be one thing and the show figured out a way to have it have a different meaning. But anyone want to comment on that? I don't want to monopolize that.
No, exactly your point. I didn't mind at all the always follow your nose quote. I thought for the right purpose, for the right context, worked great. And to your point, and from what I'm seeing as well, it's like this, the context of this just didn't make sense, unfortunately for me. But people who loved it, great, all for you. But it's just for me, like I say, just took me out of this scene, and yeah, just like I say, absolutely, just a bit jarring.
So for me, this is one of my all-time favorite quotes from in general the books, and I liked that I heard it being used in some sort of way, but at the same time, it was weird coming from Tom Bombadil of all people, and I think I didn't mind Tom Bombadil's introduction that much. Actually, I loved the way they introduced him, and I really liked the character. But I think with this episode, I get why people are saying that he doesn't feel, and at least in writing, very much Tom Bombadil, because it's a bit too serious of an argument for him to make. But then again, I guess we sort of get a character development of Tom Bombadil of all people. I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about this quote, because I'm glad to hear it because I love it. But then again, it's weird. I don't know. So yeah.
And I wonder how this is going to play out because they show like a vast area of just dead trees, and he has to figure out which one's his. So I wonder, is he going to find it in this area, or is it a red herring and he goes back to like old man iron? What I forget what it was called. Sorry, but that that tree, and, and he asks him politely for a branch. Oh, we have Gregory in the chat. For me, it's really made me go, okay, this is really, oh, this really is Gandalf. Yeah, I feel like this season it's pointing pretty strong to Gandalf. So I don't definitely we do this poll a lot, but let us know in the chat if are you guys still feeling like Blue Wizard? Are you getting swayed over to Gandalf camp? Where do you land? I keep ping ponging around, so my opinion's not valuable anymore. I guess I'll wait and see. um, it would have been funny too, is like in this exchange of like you have to find your wand. He just like or staff. He just like goes to the closest tree and breaks it off. Like, all right, found it. Let's move on.
I just want Ollivander to just show up out of nowhere, Harry Potter style, and be like, so this tree has this type of wood. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a silly idea, but I guess we will have to wait to see how it will play out.
Oh, and we got the poll in the chat, so feel free to vote, and we'll see where you guys land there. I will say though, like, so kind of focusing on a lot of the negatives, but on a positive, I guess it's a cool exploration of Middle Earth by showing how wizards find their staffs. I am not on the Sunday stream, so I don't know if a lot of lore has been broken down of if that's ever covered in like the nature of Middle Earth or anything like that of how the wizard gets their staff. But it's cool to see at least there's in this adaptation how they approach that. So kudos to them.
If
at least
anyone would know, it would be Strider. But guess what? We don't have Strider in this stream. Once again, we need him, and he's not here. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't think we've discussed it. I will bring it up on Sunday. So stay tuned for Sunday.
Maybe if we start just talking smack about Aragorn, he'll appear. We got to do that soon. If we have more dwarven lines, we got to start coming up with disses for the dwarves to get a Varking in here. Wishful thinking. We got probably half an hour left. We'll see if we can pull them in. I'm gonna vote real quick here. I'm gonna go. Okay, right now it looks like actually 45% right now are saying Gandalf. Interesting. It's getting close.
Yeah, I think if they've gone too far down that rabbit hole to be anyone else, now with all the quotes and everything, I think they've now this episode they've gone too far. If it's not that they've gone too far, but I think if it's anyone else now, I think they've I don't know.
I think my heart will always be blue, but my mind tells me Gandalf now way too much. I think that's the situation. I mean, like I always said, Team Blue Delulu, but
I think that the filmmakers just put themselves in an awkward situation where they put way too many hints about Gandalf stuff. I mean, even in season 1, follow your nose, that type of thing. And if it's like one hint, it's like, okay, fine, but like there are already like 4 or 5 quotes that's like straight off something that Gandalf already says. So if it's Gandalf, then it's like, okay, it's the least like climactic thing ever, right? So, like no one is gonna be like, oh my god, it's Gandalf, like everyone that's gonna be yeah, duh, like it's you can't compare this to the Halbrand's situation with Sauron. That was like a lot more sneakier, and people were like guessing, and just left, right, and center. And then you see like some hints. The fact that he can beat some Numenorians, then he can forge weapons, then he starts to give tips to Ar-Pharazôn and stuff like that. But that's like really minor stuff that even people that have read the books don't know. And this what we're seeing right in front of us now is like even the guy that watches Lord of the Rings once can be like, oh, but yeah, I mean, this is Gandalf, like 100%, So yeah, it's kind of awkward. It's not really fun to me.
Yeah, I saw David Drin in the chat wrote Gandalf the Blue. That's another potential. That would I assume that would be considered a lore breach, but nonetheless, it's a path they could take.
I mean, it is a lore breach, but hear me out. I'm about to be very stupid. So since Gandalf got a promotion from grey to white, why can't he take a promotion from blue to grey?
Yeah.
Like there is a color scale of promotion. Also, Strider, why are you in the chat? You said you will be in the stream. Anyways, it's okay.
He's probably in the wilderness, like hunting some deer or something.
Yeah. Burley has signal just for some text, I guess.
Whispering into
exactly.
horse ears.
Yeah. He has Brigo with him.
Oh, well, all right. So he's in the chat at least. So we'll have to continue to ask him questions if he doesn't join us. Well, okay, so we talked about the search for his staff. We can probably continue on here. Okay, so we're in Khazad-dum. So this is where we should start saying how much we hate this storyline and how the dwarves are useless, and then Varking will appear. Um, so we'll continue doing that. But on a serious note, though, it was interesting. It seems like they opened the scene. I'm assuming by showing the other kingdoms paying the. I wonder, is it the other kingdoms paying their debt, or is it just the merchants paying their debt? What do you guys think there?
It feels like merchants to me more than kingdoms, because otherwise they would announce it somewhat,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Hmm, that's fair.
And they will give some kind, like we would say, some kind of rings get given out. So
I think Annatar says in a minute though. It says I see the 7 are working for you. So perhaps that they have been distributed, and this is their, when it says like you got your what did we call it last week? It was the ring tax or whatever it was. It said like if you want the ring, then
yeah,
you'll give me that stuff. So when he comes as like you can see obviously the tribute that's on the floor and just go like saying, "Oh, I can see this. They're obviously working for you. You got all your gold."
Hmm. Yeah.
well,
Interesting.
if it is that, it's disappointing that we didn't get to see the rings get distributed. I
Hmm.
would say that. I hope it's not that.
I guess we'll have to wait and see because that is a good point. Um, but okay, so we got this exchange. Um, we had Sauron being menacing as ever, and his quiet portrayal, which is this is one thing I did want to touch on. I was reflecting on this as I watched it last night. I know there's been a lot of debate in the fandom of like, oh, why don't we just get this season one? Like, why don't we just get Annatar right off the cuff and start working his magic? I I don't know if I'm in a smaller camp here, but I kind of like how it's playing out because we got like a taste of Annatar in season one, basically through Halbrand, and then season two, we're really getting the manipulation. I feel like it was building towards something where if we got Annatar right off the cuff, we might not have appreciated him as much because we'd be like, oh, here's a shady character doing shady things. Who cares? But at least we got this like background of Hallbrand and the manipulation. So
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think I was, like I say, I come out of episode 8, season 1 going, what could have been? And then you sit on it for 2 years going, what could have been? But without the 8 episodes of Halbrand and the repenting Sauron, if we want to call it that, we don't get this version. We don't get the backstory because we're already invested. Now, if season 1 had been this, like say we've got this messenger from the Valar come through in episode 2 of season 1, you're like, whoa, what's happened here, kind of thing. It needs the 8 episodes set up and the, like I say, the cause and effect of Annatar's here now because of X, Y, and Z. And
yep.
if you thrust him in, and I had, thoughts about this, in the middle of, the 2 year break and stuff like that, saying, well, how would I have done it? And sense like, would I have had Annatar just hiding in plain sight? You got a lot of elves extras happening in season 1 at dinner tables. Like, would I have had Annatar there? He's always just watching the background, and then suddenly as the season goes on, and half the end of season 1 has been revealed, like saying, like, I've been working with this guy, his name's Annatar, and then you go into the bit more of that in season 2. But the way that it's all unfolded, I couldn't have asked for anything better, quite frankly. It's been great.
I still believe season 1 could use a bit better writing, but at the same time, I agree with this point. Like, wanting season 1 to have been better doesn't mean you want it to be extremely different than what it was. Because exactly, it sets up what we're seeing now. And I think we have forgotten that we have to first be immersed a bit in the world, that a bit peacefully before we see it destroyed and going all down and just turning it on fire and us with little barlogs from the fires. And like, you have to attach to that world before seeing it crumble. So yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
absolutely. Yeah, like I say, you need to care about these characters before you see their evolution and their change and stuff like that. It's if we just got Annatar straight off the bat, it'd been great for people that know what's going on. But if I'm an outsider, like looking at it straight off the bat, you're like, why do I care? What does this mean? And now you've got the Halbrand change, you're a bit more invested because you know who it is. You know why he's suddenly gone from Halbrand to Annatar. There is that reason now, and I think you are highly more invested. And season 1 of any TV show will be your introductory season. You've got to set up your characters, you've got to set up your lands, you've got to set up what is the fundamental root storyline of this thing. We got it at the end of season 1. It's like, okay, we're about Rings of Power. And then season 2 is just like, right, we're ripping the can off of this and we're going full hog. Perfect.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
there is a really good comment. Sorry for interrupting you, but from David Roberts saying, like, we know the characters now because we spend time with them without Annatar, which is really on point, because if you haven't seen the characters without manipulation and knowing who they truly are, you cannot see the effect of the manipulation. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree 1000% with that.
Yeah. Great point. And
Yeah.
on this scene on screen right now, how did you interpret it? For me personally, I think I went on a very negative path with this, and I interpreted it as him being passive aggressive, like, "Oh, I'll show you guys," and just giving him a glimpse of the Balrog. But what do you guys think? Because I think there is a lot of theories floating.
I think I think he's delving into what's their greatest fear, and I think he's trying to, like, it's like he doesn't. He's got to look for something, because when he's told no, it's like saying you're not having the mithril. He's like, how? What is your Achilles heel? What is your thing? And just have a quick glance. It's like, I know about these things. You're all done for, mate. And turns around and walks off. It's like, oh, you got one of those lying downstairs, have you? Fair enough. I don't need to bother you with that. You're all good, kind of thing. So it's yeah, I think he's just tapping into their manipulation. And again, he's just like, okay, I've got to find something to use as leverage here. And it's like, okay, you've got a big Balrog downstairs. Fine. I don't need to worry about you lot. I will crack on back to Eregion. Thank you very much. It's all good.
I kind of saw it a bit differently. Like, that's just the way that I was thinking about it right now while looking at the screenshot. Is that maybe it's him figuring out that there's a Balrog there, but just keeping that information for himself rather than it being like, because what Nick's saying is a very fair point, and I agree with it completely. But at the same time, it could very well be like him just realizing right there that there is actually a Balrog. Maybe it's like, since he's part of the seen and unseen world, he can see things that others can't see. So maybe it's just him like realizing like, okay, maybe I should just not like push as hard towards the dwarves, because like you said, they're gonna be taken care of by the Balrog eventually too. But it's not something that he's like putting pressure onto them. It's just like, oh shit, wait, there's a Balrog here. Like, okay, well, turns out I need to do half the job,
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with that. Someone said that's not the Khazad-dum's not his main focus. Eregion is, and he's only going there to see, like, a lot of the main point about the mithril and stuff. But it's like that's not his main focus. Main focus is the rings. So
I think that this is Maya endo communication, because again, lore snippets, Balrogs and Sauron are basically the same species. So they're both Maya. And so in my twisted way of saying this scene, I would be like, don't worry, mate. I got the dwarves here settled. Like, I will do my show in a few couple of years. So you do you with the elves. I got the dwarves. You don't have to worry about them. And it's sort of like that, how the wizards in Harry Potter communicated through like their fireplaces. They communicate through fire as well. So yeah, that's my theory.
That's a pretty good theory. Yeah. Wonder if they like communicate through the elements that they're associated with. So Balrog with fire, like that'd be cool. Water too, water communication, and wow, that's a good theory. It'd be funny if he's like, "Oh, there's a Balrog here. Let me make as much noise as possible on my way out." But oh yeah, wow, pretty cool theory. All right. Well, it looks like we're about halfway through the episode and almost at an hour, so we might have to start doing some speed rounds. Um, we got the fight between the Durins. It's basically like I mean, I went to kind of like alcoholism with this. I don't know if this is a kind of a dark metaphor or whatever, but I was like, oh yeah, it's like I can stop drinking at any time. It's no big deal. It's like, all right, do it, and then it doesn't. That's kind of the vibe I got from this scene, and it's showing that the power of the ring is kind of fully consumed his father at this point. So it's only further downhill from here. Is basically what you can get from this scene, unfortunately. Um, I guess we'll kind of do a little bit of speed round. So we'll keep moving along here. We got the fight between Disa and Durin the fourth. I thought the scene was really pretty powerful. I don't know. Does anyone want to speak on this scene at all?
Yeah, it just tapped on to emotional side of Durin, which I think was quite refreshing to see, because you're just seeing very, prince-like, and now he's just let his guard down. I thought it was really good. Great scene for both actors, actually.
Yeah, it's like an emotional roller coaster. He has a high, then a low, high, low, and getting another low today. Yeah, I guess we'll continue on. I think okay, so I saw some comments early on about Aorian. I think it might have been Priscilla TV that posted it, but basically saying she's the worst daughter ever. Oh, I kind of agree with that, unfortunately. She got manipulated by the wrong crowd and she is disappointing her father. Um, ki- I guess the only redeeming
She's still
quality.
his daughter. Like, what the
There we go. Priscilla TV. Um,
Sorry.
yeah. Heated. V is heated. Yeah, I the only redeeming quality for her right now is she tried to come up with a plea deal to save her father, but at the same time she kind of put her father into this mess, so tricky. I feel like this is going to be an echo for the rest of the show is this relationship of kind of disappointment and trying to save her father. So yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to speak any further on this scene in particular, but it's pretty
Just very
tragic.
quickly, I think this is Cynthia Robson's best scene. I thought she was absolutely incredible in this scene. I thought she was absolutely amazing. And the line where is it? Faith is not faith unless it is lived. I said about it last week. The dialogue in this season again is just absolutely skyrocketed, because it's just little lines like that. You're just gonna remember for the next 5 seasons. It's just that little snippet. You're like, yeah, it just sums up that character. That he just truly believes in his faith, and he's just like, if the Valar wants it, I'm gonna give my life up for it. And it's just like, yeah, we get it. We're all in. So yeah,
Yeah,
this was a great scene.
I'm glad you highlighted Cynthia too, because like I feel like she's such an underrated character. Like not a lot of people usually
100%.
speak of her, and yeah, very powerful performance. I did see here Gregory in the chat. He posted something pretty funny. I don't know if you see that, Kyle.
Yeah.
She's upset her brother got killed, so she gets her father killed.
I think it's something we will debate with Gregory on the Sunday panel for sure. But what I will quickly say, like, I'm on the Elendil side, okay? But I understand Earien as well. Like, she was left back in Numenor with no one, and the only people that she hung out was Kemen and his twisted father. So, and then she gets back. From what we understand, we didn't really see Elendil doing any sort of grieving counseling for the family. I mean, she and him are the only ones left, basically. And Arion is another story. He's somewhere. So I think she's basically looking at also one thing that I've discussed with Strider. Actually, we haven't seen what the the Palantir has shown Erin exactly. So she's probably manipulated by that too. And she hates everything Elven because she thinks that that's what took her brother, and she thinks that's what will take her father. And that's why she tries to persuade him to switch faiths and be faithful to our Farazon. And like, and also she sees her father much more closer with Cynthia, with Muriel than than with her. So I don't know. I think she feels a bit left out, and I feel Elendil's parenting should have been a bit better. And at the same time, the Numenorian plotline lacks a lot of scenes. Like I've said it countless times. If we had 1 or 2 scenes of Numenor when Miriel was fighting in Middle Earth, seeing how close Aryan and Kemen got, seeing how Farazon took care of business while Miriel was away, I think it would have made these scenes much more nuanced and much more powerful, and have more people siding with Aryan, which I think that it's the point of the Numenorian plotline, to basically divide people and take sides before you understand what's behind it, especially if you don't know the law. So I am basically with both of them, and I don't accept any Aryan slander like on the 100% scale. I understand she's made mistakes, but he's her father. Okay? Thank you very much.
That was actually really good insight. You made me reflect on how I was perceiving her. So, wow, that was really good. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this episode and take it in from that perspective. Wow, look at that, growing on the show. I did see a funny comment. I don't know where was. I'll try. I'll keep that in the back of my mind for when we get to that. All right, so we'll getting short on time here, so we'll move along from this scene. Okay, we got more dwarf stuff. I guess because Varking isn't here, we can just skip over that. Still haven't summoned him. I thought we'd get him by now. So this scene was interesting. I saw some interesting takes online on this. Basically, Disa summoned a bunch of bats by using her vocals and her vocal technique with the mountain to help delay the progression of Narvi in the mines. It's kind of fitting too when you think about bats, how they use like echolocation and stuff. So it's kind of cool how there's kind of that parallel as well. They use sound, and sound was used to summon them and or scare them, for if that's all it took too. Anyone want to comment particularly on this scene? I'm kind of changing the format a bit because we're running low on time. So I'm just like, if you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it, or we'll move on.
I just want to say amazing acting, and I loved both of them, and especially Durin saying "I love you" to Disa. Yeah, that's what we need. Couple goals.
There we go. And Jamita Frog wrote Disa as Batman Returns. That's pretty funny. Great.
I mean, she's a powerful woman, so let them be jealous.
The new vigilante of the Khazad-dum. That's a very powerful scene. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're getting to one of the bigger scenes of the episode. I think, if I remember right, we're at like 2 big scenes left. I could be wrong if there's more store stuff and I forgot. So this is the trial by sea, and the big surprise was Muriel jumped in and say, "I will walk in his stead," and basically took the trial herself. One thing I noticed, I don't know if anyone noticed, if it was just glaring to them, but she's wearing the white dress, and the white dress was important to her with the conversation with Farasan because she wanted to represent the old ways, and there's the kind of the summoning of the eagle based on what her father wore, which was also white. So I'm wondering if her choice to wear white, one, because of the faithful connection, but two, but maybe there is some kind of connection with that, her lineage and the world around her. Um, but yeah, I thought this scene was great, very suspenseful. I saw someone earlier in the chat. I forgot who it was specifically, but maybe Kyle can find it. Someone said they really liked the design of the monster, the worm in the water. Um, I couldn't agree more. I thought the kind of the effect towards the end of when she's about to be captured by it, you could just see all the tentacles kind of closing in on her, and it kind of invoked very claustrophobic feel. Look at that. Kyle found it. The crawling chaos commented that. Yeah, totally agree there. Um, how did you guys feel about this scene? Did you feel like um, it did this storyline justice? And do you have any theories on where this is going to end up? Because it ends with Elendil basically saying Tar Mariel, meaning that she's the rightful queen of Numenor. Anyone has any thoughts on that?
I mean, I mean, this is my field, right?
Yeah, yeah, you
I
should take over. Yeah.
no, I really like this scene. I mean, I'm not gonna. He's my boy. You know you call it a monster. To me, it's my little pet. I call him Bob. It's the same way Pippin is your dog. That's kind of the same to me. Um, no, but I think it was really cool the way that they portrayed it, and even when we saw it in the trailer, I mean, we didn't see as much of it as I hoped for because the way that they showed it in the trailer, it looked like it was something so impressive and so important and stuff. And it was more of the build up towards the scene rather than the moment itself that was important. Because I mean, I highly doubt that someone was like, "Oh, she's gonna die 100%." So it was more of the confrontation between Arpharazon and her, and then her coming back and all that stuff. That's really cool about this scene. But yeah, I mean, the little puppy is really cute, so I dig him.
And Kyle had on the screen a quote from Jamito Frog: "The sea is always right" is such a silly slogan slash phrase, but it fits how the faithfuls are so devoted. They are cool. Um,
Yeah, I am always
yeah.
right, and I see a comment that says Umu approves this, and yes, I do approve this. I need 6 seasons of this. Screw the Harfoots, screw the dwarves. Barking can go find somewhere else. Even Elrond and all of that stuff. We just need 6 water seasons.
You know what? I was gonna take a dig at Olmo, but knowing where this storyline goes and Olmo's power, I gotta take a back seat on this one. I don't want to anger him. He's too
Listen,
powerful.
there was Beleriand once. That's what I'm gonna say. There was Beleriand once, and you pissed me off, and that's what happened.
All right. We gotta keep him on his good side, guys. Let's make sure we don't have any ill words towards the water. So the sea is always right. It's never wrong. Um, yeah, and here's the or the design of the worm. It looks awesome. We got a glimpse of that in the trailer. We had some awesome suspense here, and I don't know if anyone made this parallel, but also like the sea kind of spit Mariel out, much like the sea influenced Círdan on the boat with kind of knocking the rings over. I thought that was an interesting parallel. Um, the sea definitely has like a part to play in this storyline for sure. So Olmo isn't just sitting there doing nothing; he's actually adding some decent storylines to this season.
I'm editing,
Um,
and at the same time I'm messing with the Numenor. That's what I do.
Perfect. And we kind of ended here with the crowd cheering for Tar Mariel. I'm very confused personally on how this is going to shake out because we had Farazan claiming the throne or the scepter, and now they're cheering Tar Mariel. So does that mean she's now queen, or is there going to be a battle? Like, I know how the lore goes, but like how the show's setting this up is a little confusing to me. But I'm sure it'll resolve um, in the later episodes. Does anyone have any personal theories there? Do you see her just becoming queen now, and then that helps fuel the Kingsmen versus the faithful, or any theories? All right. I'm just looking in the chat too, real quick. All right. Okay, yeah, the Crawling Chaos wrote, must admit I have had trouble liking the Numenor plot, but I'm warming up to it. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think season one, I didn't really like the Numenor plot as much, but I'm definitely, all the pieces are starting to be put in place. This scene, I just wanted to make a quick shout out to. I actually really love the design of how the Palantir kind of branches out and then envelops the entire screen. I
Yeah.
love that effect a lot.
Yeah, I didn't like it in season one, but now I really love it. It was. I
Yeah.
think I think just used to it from obviously the films, and I was really distorted. But now this is used to a great effect, and I loved this scene, this little scene. And I suppose this is a question I suppose I could pose to the Sunday Law team, because
Ooh.
if Kyle, you just keep playing on for me, sorry, because obviously we see what Farazan sees. And how do I phrase this without spoiling? But is what he sees there what he sees later on? I don't know how much I can say about spoiling because I know we don't do spoilers here, but it's just that everyone's looking at me confused and I'm like, I totally get it. But it's just like, how do I say it, or I just come out of it and just give everyone a spoiler warning?
Well, what do we
It's
see?
like, have you seen what I've seen? You
Yeah.
haven't seen what I've seen.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Exactly.
We saw lava, right? So he sees lava
Yeah.
from Mount Doom.
He sees lava and he sees Halbrand.
Yeah, I think he's connecting the pieces of who is who.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
how do we
Okay.
approach this?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's right. I
Yeah.
think that's answered my question.
Yeah.
Because I know
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
going to come. So I'm just like, is that who or what? So we'll perhaps move on. This is another time for another chat.
Okay,
Yeah.
so everyone, this is a good promotion for the Sunday stream. If you would like to learn more about this, we'll
I
go
will ask
into
the
great
question on
discussion.
Sunday.
Perfect.
We
All
are
right.
well for you on Sunday. So yeah.
Definitely.
I'll go back to the chat real quick for the poll. It looked like 62% said Gandalf, so it looks like we have a pretty strong candidate for Gandalf for the Stranger. All right. We definitely want to start speed rounding because we're over an hour. I want to respect Kyle's time here and the team. Okay, so we get a little bit of a fight between Adar and Galadriel. He basically says he got everything he needed from her, and she basically comes to the realization that he's falling into Sauron's trap. I thought the scene was pretty powerful, really well done. And then we get to outside where he's just like, "Yeah, I got an army," and then the orcs or the Uruk. Sorry, I don't know. We don't have anyone on the team. Do we have anyone on the team that is a Uruk sympathizer who likes the race of orcs the most? That's a pretty
I mean,
hard.
Uruk and orcs are two different things. So Adar is an Uruk, but the rest is orcs. If I'm not stupid.
I thought Uruk just means orc in black
No,
speech.
is it?
No?
No, it doesn't.
Strider, where are you?
No, it isn't
Strider.
because no, because the Uruk-hai are a different species than the orcs.
But that's
The
Not
Uruk-hai.
goblins, the
Uruk-hai.
orcs.
Uruk-hai is even a different battalion, let's say, of orcs. It's something
Yeah.
created
Yeah, it's
for Saruman specific, but Uruk, I think it's black spades for orc or something
Orc.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Strider, where are you?
Strider, wake up. I'm pretty. If anyone in the chat has time to Google too, or they know, let us know. But I'm pretty sure it means orc. Yeah. So Charles Joshua Uruk is black for orc, black speech. So yeah. So yeah. Well, going back on the question, like I wonder if we have someone on the team that likes Uruks the best. Like I think back to like if anyone's ever played like Warhammer tabletop games, stuff like that. Um, I did when I was a lot younger, and I had an Empire army and an Orc army, and it was kind of fun playing the Orcs. But I don't know. I can't say.
I'm a Tau guy. I'm a Tau guy.
Oh, deep
Yeah.
cut.
Of course.
Oh, okay. Strider corrected us. He said that is correct. So we have his blessing. Perfect. All right, we can move on from here. So we saw the army. I want to say we're getting towards. I did this last stream where I'm like, yeah, we're at the end now, and then there's like five
I mean,
other
you can literally see
scenes.
from the line that we're at the end somewhat.
We're getting close. So we see the orcs. From there, we get a shot of how close they are to Eregion. They start preparing for battle. So we can only assume, based on the trailer and everything else, that we're going to get a massive battle next episode, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And it's directed by Charlotte Brandstrom, who did a lot of the epic episodes from season 1. So I'm expecting greatness there.
Yeah, there's one shot I really like. Yeah, exactly. It's in regards with exactly what he's stopping on now, Kyle. It's the one where the illusion fades. That one. It's like I think it's like 2-3 seconds because I put it on loop on the YouTube video 3 times. I don't know whoever watched the YouTube video. Thank you guys, but I put it on loop 3 times on the YouTube video because I thought it was so cool. Apparently, I mean, I didn't watch the behind the scenes stuff, but apparently they shot it like real time kind of thing. So it's not like visual effects. Apparently, that's what I heard, or what
Wow.
be the case.
Yeah, it's went viral in Twitter. Like someone reacted. They did it in real time, and it has 20K likes because it has also the video that they show basically the camera moving as Annatar is like walking in the crowd, and as they moving, they lower down the lights of the studio, and people start running in front of Annatar. Yes, this one. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
that one.
yeah.
That's just sick. That's just honestly. That's
Wow.
just sick. That's just
It's
sick.
just everyone thought it's VFX, but it's real time and it's freaking wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
I watched the behind the scenes and I missed that. That is so
I'm
awesome.
gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the behind the scenes of that because like that's really sick. That's really sick. I love the way that they portrayed it and the way that he seems like appeased almost. You know, like like the way that his chin slightly move upwards. Like it's just a frame, right? Like it's just the smallest thing, but
He's so
if you look
proud of
closely,
himself.
yeah, exactly. He moves his chin slightly upwards of like, yeah, that's what I did. You know, like the Charlie figures.
I did that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the queen. He has his wife, you know. Like, yeah, Charlie Vickers really is acing it on Annatar's role and Sauron as a whole. I think we talked about it before, but someone said that if they failed the casting for Sauron, this show would be just catastrophically bad. And he has been doing an incredible job. I mean, the actor for Celebrimbor is doing also an incredible performance, but this is just it's otherworldly.
The Charlies are amazing.
The Charlies are amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. There was another thing from behind the scenes I picked up on before watching the behind the scenes, and I think I don't know. I'm in tune with Bear McCreary apparently because I keep picking up on the random things he's doing. Like in the other episode, I picked up on the Bulgarian choir, and then this time there's a scene they talk about it in the behind the scenes where Sauron's raising his hand, like as the orcs are starting to kind of amass in the I guess woods across. And while that's going on, you hear the orchestra tuning up to the note, and I like it sounds amazing, and it's like it's very airy and it's really well done. So if you haven't Oh no. Yeah.
So great.
It sounds so good. So if you guys missed that, definitely like on a rewatch, listen to the orchestra in the background. Just it's so airy and so well done. But yeah, we're kind of towards the end of the episode here, so we basically got that final shot of Sauron looking out as the orcs come, and it's basically signaling to everyone that Sauron had this as his plan all along, and he's well ready for it. It kind of begs the question of, they're attacking at the same time that the rings are being made, and Sauron so far doesn't seem, or Annatar, he doesn't seem worried at all. So like, how many steps ahead is he? Like, does anyone have any theories on this? Like, what does he know that we don't know? Or yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just like I said last week. He's just the master manipulator. He's got everyone on a string. He's just playing that chessboard perfectly. It's like, you're going to come here, then I'll move you over here and do that and stuff. But I just want to give some shout outs quickly to the bits, the Celebrimbor bit where he's like, unhand me friend, and start pushing Annatar. I was like, oh hell no. That really made me my jaw hit the ground. Then it's just like, when he pushed him, I was like, oh no. And then the whole blood thing, I think I saw on Twitter, and it was a really good theory that people are saying, they're linking it back to Adar, where it says only blood can bind. So when he cuts his hand and then puts on Celebrimbor, it's like they're now bound, and the stuff that like he gets connected that way. I was like, it's really interesting theory that I want to see play out in the next 2 episodes. But just coming back to that last scene, and you were talking about the music, the way that Bear mixes Nampat, Galadriel's theme, and Sauron's theme, and then it just culminates in the wide trebuchet shot, was just absolutely, I hate to use this phrase, but pure cinema. It was just such a great way to set up a battle. That these 3 characters now are intertwined through the, obviously, representation of the music, but with everything else is just great. So I love it.
I
And
also
then
love.
the reference, sorry, that I was talking about earlier is when the cloud comes towards the screen in the episode 6, it's now the trebuchet ball coming towards the screen in the episode 6. So the last shots are like the big cloud and then the ball coming towards the screen.
I really like the little grin, the little smirk that he does while he's walking, while people in the back are like completely losing their mind. I honestly, I would want to know how they're directing him, Charlie Vickers, because and how what like how he does it. It's just like what kind of energy he's implementing in it. So because it's easy to say, it's always, there's always this eternal debate of like, it's fun to play a good guy, but it's even better to play a bad guy. Many actors say that, and just in general, like, bad guys are technically more interesting than good guys, because they have like a different way of seeing and thinking and stuff like that. So I really dig the way that he's portrayed and the way that he's acting, and sometimes he has this like light in his eyes. And for example, when there's a unhand me friend scene, even with the makeup, I know it's like a small hint about it, but you can see like some darkness around his eyes, where it's like, yeah, exactly there. You can see like there's a hint of him like being like, bro, don't touch me ever again, or I'm gonna smack you to the ground, my guy. Like, I think that's just fantastic. I don't know. I'm lost for words. The casting has been amazing.
Sounds like you're manifesting that we want to interview the directors or Charlie Vickers to get those answers. So let's manifest that.
Honestly, I would be down to do that. Like, for real, I would be down to do that.
Yeah, but me personally too, like, just Charlotte's consistency through season 1 and 2. Like, oh, I love to pick her brain. I just love her episodes a lot. Nothing but great things to say about her. But yeah, I guess like we're a little bit over an hour here, so maybe we end this episode with. We've been doing it pretty much every episode this season so far, but how are you guys feeling overall of season 2? Like, do we feel like this is going to end strong? It seems like unanimously where the quality or just the overall excitement for this season has gone up. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the season?
I was thinking about this earlier, and I think if we know what's coming in the last 2 episodes, and we've got through the first 6, and we're already raving about them. I don't think there's going to be a down point. It's only just going to go up and up and up, because I think everyone's saying about episode 4 and what that kind of stuff, but even still, it's a top tier episode. So if all the first 6 are that good, it's only going up and it's not coming down. So I think it's a solid 9 season so far, and hopefully it continues.
Yeah, and we had it on the chat there. Strider says we're going to manifest the Charlie Vickers interview, so let's do it. Let's continue. Everyone in
we
the chat,
just
let's
need
manifest.
some rings of power to get the plan through.
I'm surprised that V is not going for Robert Aramayo, but all right.
I mean,
I'll
I
guess
will
you're
get what
cheating.
I can get.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
complain. Charlie
You know
Vickers
what?
is also amazing.
Let's end the episode that way. Everyone has to let us know who out of everyone involved in Rings of Power, who do you want to interview the most? So we'll start with V and go down.
You know, you just messed up what I wanted to say for closing of the episode, because I wanted to give a shout out to Bear McCreary for having such an educated music audience, because truly what I've seen in Twitter with Rings of Power of fans just picking up on things he does, because he writes a vlog, he does live streams, he puts a lot of work in interact with the audience and trying to geek out about how he plans his music and what tricks he uses to get certain feelings out, and you just see that reflected in the audience. So if I got to interview him at any point, it would be about that and how like he goes about educating the audience about music. But if I had to pick my favorite, I would obviously pick Robert Aramayo, just so that I can geek out about everything Middle Earth, because he's truly the Elrond of the cast. He's the lore master, and he knows so many stuff. So it would be a very, very interesting interview to just be nerdy and talk about Elrond. So yeah.
All right, awesome. How about you, Omo?
I would just say, because you were saying about the season, I want to just bounce back on that real quick. I saw a message that Strider posted earlier on the live stream that they said that it's only going upwards, and I couldn't agree more with that, because Nick was reflecting the same thing. And if you compare it to season 1, where people had a lot of backlash towards certain things like dialogue or characters, and they're very famous. There's a storm in me, and no, it's a tempest in me. There's a tempest in me. The line, people were like, ugh, whatever. And then in this season, you have like in episode, I think it's episode 2, where you have the entire metaphor with like the harp and the strings, and then you have like the music that's accompanying it as well. And this episode's like the last one for me is probably the best one. So yeah, and to answer your question, for me, yeah, it's 100% Charlie Vickers. Like he looks like a really fun guy outside of it, and I just wanna just pick his brain about how he dives into this character, and how he portrays it, and how he feels it, because in some way you must feel like powerful, right? Like you must feel like this intense power that he has over anyone else, because no one is at his level except the Star. But yeah, I think that would be really cool.
All right, so we have so far Robert Aramayo, we have Charlie Vickers. For me, oh, this is a tough question. I guess for now, I'm gonna have 3. So director tier, Charlotte Branson, 100%. For actors and actresses, I'm split 50-50 right now between Charles Edwards and Morfydd Clark. Um, I just feel like there's something like about Morfydd Clark. I feel like she's very mischievous, and I think the interview would be really fun. There's just I don't know, just me personally, like she has like kind of that energy. So that would be my vote. But how about you, Nick?
Director Charlotte Brandstrom, writer Nicholas Adams, who wrote episode 5, and actor I think a Charlie double bill, because if you get one you can't leave the other out. That's just sacrilege. So the 2
He
Charlies.
had the list ready. Just
Oh, and I see it looks like Strider in the chat. He wrote Charles Edwards, and then Vickers. So yeah, and in the chat, there's a lot of Charlie Vickers. There's some Robs. It looks like. Looks like we do have another. We have a couple more Vid Clarks.
Like, can we not have Rob? Because like otherwise V's gonna lose her mind, and we still need Twitter for the first season.
let me know that. First of all, a lot of content for Twitter from an interview. Like, I will get every single minute of it tweeted.
It doesn't matter. If that's going to happen, you're going to be like completely dazed for an entire month, and we need Twitter. So
Don't worry about it.
For Omo, we'll just
the interview.
What we can do for Omo is we'll get a bucket of water from the set, and
I would, in the first season where they're like they're stuck at sea. I would swim around in that stuff. I would just like put some swim trunks on and just go some speedos, and there we go.
Oh no,
right.
Speedos! No.
Speedos and Middle Earth, nice. That should be the title of this episode.
On that note.
On that note, I think it's a good closing note. So yeah, this was a really fun episode. I think we have 2 more to go, and as always, we do have the Sunday stream and Wednesday predictions. We have some Twitter Space stuff too, so be sure to check out our schedule and join in on the fun. As always, we'll do some closings here. It was great to have you, V, and hopefully we see you again.
Yeah, it was a really fun being in Friday panel, actually. So I would like to return sometimes. We will see. Great
Awesome.
to be here.
No, this is the cool kids table. You can.
I want to give a shout out and closing remarks to Omo. He was pretty well behaved today.
Yeah. See, when we see the sea, I'm a happy lad. Like when we see my domain, I'm fine. No, I thank you for everyone for watching. It's a pleasure. It always is.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And Nick, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. It's always great to come on. Second time running, hopefully. Be back for third next week. Why not, hey? Friday Fun Crew.
Friday Fun Crew. Love to hear it. Thanks to Kyle in the background. Thanks to Harry. He couldn't make it today. Thanks for Strider being in the chat, and Greg as well.
Thank
everyone
you,
in the chat
for hosting.
Oh,
also.
No problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kyle. A lot of fun.
Thanks, Kyle. Kyle is the MVP also, always.
Yeah.
MVP. But yeah, all right, guys. I'm going to look at the comments later. I'll be interacting too. So if you have any closing remarks, if in the chat that we didn't get to, we'll be interacting in there. But thanks everyone, and we'll see you all Friday. Bye.
See ya. Bye. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye bye.